Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe. It's been a minute, but we're back, and we hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. Gallo and I, we were on the road, and now we are bringing you a podcast here in the opening days of December. So happy holidays officially. We're recording this on Monday, December 2nd. So that means the Thunder has just wrapped up a very long 4-game road trip out through the Western Conference, 3 games in California, a Thanksgiving in Los Angeles, and then wrapped it up in Houston. And here we are bringing you the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for hanging in there with us. It has been a long, winding journey over the last couple weeks since we were able to podcast for you last. But the Thunder has been playing great, and this constant evolving nature of the roster has at least maybe settled for a little bit here as Isaiah Hartenstein has come back. But as we know, these things are always fluid. But the Thunder did a great job of managing this road trip. I think we did a great job of managing the road trip.
There was
over
a lot.
The course of the Thanksgiving holiday. Paris, what'd you get up to in LA and over Thanksgiving?
Okay, so as you all know, we were in Los Angeles getting set to take on the Lakers. And so I figured, if I can't be with my family on Thanksgiving, I might as well just go to the most magical place on earth. And so I went to Disneyland. And I just had myself a day. I mean, it was a full day off, so got to make the most of it and just go around Disneyland all day.
Yeah, I just am imagining you walking around with your Mickey ears.
Oh yeah, I got the Christmas.
Yeah.
I got the Christmas version of the Mickey ears,
Amazing.
and it was all decorated for Christmas. And I had a gingerbread cook. Oh, it was wonderful. It was fabulous.
Nice. Well, the team had a little dinner at the hotel in LA, and that was really nice. And everybody came down and had a great chance to just connect and talk and decompress a little bit. Of course, everybody was quick to, FaceTime their families back home and stuff as well. But nice to have a little bit of that bonding on the road during a time where, over the last handful of years, the Thunder has either had home games on Wednesday, Friday, or been flying back in the middle of the night and being able to have that off day at home on Thanksgiving. So a little bit of a change up, but still nice camaraderie. And we heard from some of the players, like Isaiah Joe really waxed poetic that next day on Friday morning, just about how tight the team is, how it's really a second family, and how the bonds that they create here and the ways that they invest in each other, it helps them become better human beings, not just better basketball players.
It's never easy being away from family on, special holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, which the Thunder is going to be on the road heading out to Indianapolis on Christmas Day. But it really helps if you look at this Thunder roster and look at this group in general. This is a very tight-knit group. They enjoy being around each other, and so it makes it a little bit easier. You got a little bit of a second family that you get to spend those holidays with.
For sure. And so, that holiday passed, the Thunder was not distracted by any of that, not, kind of hanging its head or anything about being on the road for Thanksgiving, and went out and gritted out some great wins on the road and came up just short in Houston.
So the Thunder over that 4-game road trip finished 3-1, and 4 very, very intense games, very different games that the Thunder had to kind of navigate through. You got that Sacramento game up first, and the Thunder had a massive second half of that game to walk away with a 21-point victory. Then you go out to the Bay Area, and it's, obviously you're in Chase Center, which is a really big home crowd advantage for the Warriors. And that game was so close. The Thunder had a lead. The Warriors fought back. Neither team really had any offensive rhythm in that game. And the Thunder really gritted out a tough, close win. Same thing happened, kind of exact same script in Los Angeles. The Thunder, Coach Dagnall said it felt like they were playing through mud offensively because nobody really had it going. There was no rhythm, which was a testament to the Thunder's defense because LA also did not have a rhythm offensively either. But once again, a lot of grit, a lot of fight, and the Thunder walk away with the win. And then in Houston, 2 of the best defensive teams in the league, bar none. And it was really kind of offense.
Yeah, it was a shootout. It was a Western Conference shootout.
It was kind of a shootout. It finished 119-116, and the Thunder, with all their effort down the stretch, it was really neck and neck. There were 16 ties in this game, just fell just short. And Jalen Williams, to his credit, had a heave opportunity at the end to tie the game, just fell short.
Yeah, it was a great game, very well played game. You see the score 119-116, and you think, oh, this is an offensive explosion. Honestly, the defenses were great the entire game. The shot making was just even better.
So good.
Some great shots by Cason Wallace late. Some tough J-Dub buckets. Some great floaters by Isaiah Hartenstein.
And of course Shea.
And then even better shot making by the Rockets, including a heave from nearly half court by Fred VanVleet and a tough on the move runner off a total broken scramble play by Dylan Brooks. And so like those are the breaks of the game that just happen over the course of an 82 game season. But you can hang your hat on the way that you competed together in all 4 of those games on the road.
And Coach Dagnall said post game, we are a better team now after this Rockets game than we were 8 days ago when the Thunder first started the road trip. And so you can always count on Coach Dagnall and this whole Thunder roster to just approach games with a very clear-eyed analysis and not get too high, too low, but just take a step back and take things as a cumulative kind of effect. And so it was really cool to see that post game and the Thunder walking away with a lot of experience after this road trip. So me and Nick, we have a few things that have made us look over this past week. Yours is from this past week, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So I know we haven't been podcasting for a second, but we did chose things that made us look over this past week. And Nick, I'll let you go first. What made you look?
Yeah, so the setup is the last minute and a half or so in Los Angeles against the Lakers. This is an NBA Cup game, so important for the Thunder's chances in that in-season tournament. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had just hit a massive 3 with about a minute and a half to go, almost eerily similar to the same time frame as he did 2 nights before that in Golden State. Shai puts together another couple free throws. The Thunder's up by 4 with 18.8 seconds to go. And the Lakers call a timeout. They've got an inbounds play. This is one of those sequences that we've seen a million times in the NBA where a team's down 4 with about 20 seconds to go. They get a bucket. They play the foul game, and they hit a 3, and they somehow pull that game out of nowhere. But Mark Daigneault said after the game, his team was the first team ready coming out of that timeout.
Yeah.
And on that inbounds play, the Thunder took away the initial options. J-Dub was able to jump the passing lane, make a steal out top, and he runs it out for a 2-handed slam.
Yeah.
And with just a few seconds remaining then at that point, Thunder up by 6, that game was totally over, and you could hear the whole air get sucked out of the building there at Crypto.com Arena.
Though that play, the steal by J-Dub, that is such a rare thing.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. A, you're in crunch time. So everyone is on high alert on the offensive end in particular, because you're trying to set the best screen that you've set all game because you want to get your guy open. You're trying to make the best decision in terms of the inbounds pass and where you want it to go. Everyone's cutting very vigilantly. Yeah. And it's an ATO after timeout. The guys just drew this up. They just went over it in the huddle. The coaches just got them all organized. And so typically that is the best play offensively for you to be able to score.
Yeah.
And especially crunch time. And for J-Dub on the inbounds, not even in the second play when they're trying to figure out or like scramble. No, when the ball is coming into play, he snags it and sees it before it happens and gets his hand on it. That is a massive, massive play.
This is me reading between the lines a little bit.
Okay.
But when Mark Daigneault says our team was the first team ready, my view is he's saying that he's really proud of the way that the guys won that timeout beforehand, that they were prepared for what LA was going to put out on the floor. Now, I wasn't in the huddle. I don't know whether they knew exactly what actions LA was going to try to run on that sideline out of bounds play, but I will say the Thunder certainly looked prepared for them when they covered up the first option, covered up the second option, and then that 6th defender in that situation, which is the 5-second clock.
Yep.
That's barreling down on, I believe, Austin Reeves to try to make that pass. And so the window in which a good pass can be thrown there gets extremely squeezed, and J-Dub and the Thunder are able to take advantage of that.
That's a good point, because a lot of the work on those inbounds possessions happens before the ball is ever inbounded. So if you're taking away cuts, if you're, not letting guys get to where they want to go, you're fighting between screens, suddenly you're already in plan B before the ball ever even gets in play. And so that's a really, really good sign and a good testament to how the Thunder was playing defensively and how they were able to hold LA to just 93 points in this game. That is a massive testament to their defense, which we'll talk about a little bit later too.
Yeah, it was the first time in like a decade that a team had held the Lakers to 24 points or fewer in all four quarters. So just another outstanding defensive performance by OKC, in another game in which Isaiah Hartenstein was massive. I'm sure that we will get to him in just a little bit. Paris, what made you look?
That you teed me up perfectly, Nick Gallo, because I will be talking about Isaiah Hartenstein, in fact. So similar defensive possession down the stretch of a game. This was the previous game. Right. So this was in Golden State. Thunder taking on the Warriors. Warriors are in their City Edition uniforms. It's a national TV game.
Night before Thanksgiving.
Everyone, it's very, very intense in that building. And the Thunder are trying to gut out, just try to keep the Warriors from getting ahead again. Because the Thunder had gotten down by 4 earlier in that quarter. They had grinded it out. They had gotten the lead back. And now it's like the final possession for the Warriors, essentially. And somehow, I don't remember exactly how, but Isaiah Hartenstein gets switched on to Buddy Hield. And I remember watching it and being like, oh boy, okay, all right, help. What are we doing here? And Isaiah does such a fantastic job walling off the paint. He moves his feet and he forces Buddy into just a really tough possession offensively. Misses the shot, and Isaiah gets the rebound. A massive defensive play for Isaiah.
Yeah, and just an amazing job by the Thunder there to recognize that Buddy Hield had been the hot hand to that point, and he had hit a handful of threes already. Without Steph Curry in that game, still a very potent Warriors team. A team that expects to come back and win those types of games at home. It's just that's what they've done for a decade now. And so the Thunder strategy of allowing Hartenstein to switch everything there in that possession really prevented any opportunity for the Thunder, the Warriors to be able to take advantage of like 2 defenders being on the ball, be able to create some action out of that. Hartenstein preventing Hield from even getting a shot off there. Yeah. Because everybody in the building knew that Hield was hunting a 3 in that situation. He prevented him from even getting a shot off. They had to go to a secondary option. That shot was a poor quality shot. That whole sequence is not going to show up in any box score. No. You can't put a stat to it. It wasn't a block. It wasn't a steal, but it absolutely saved the game.
Because I was trying to look up on the play-by-play on exactly what happened in that Warriors game. Because I was going back, I was looking over, I was like, when exactly did that happen? It's not going to show up.
Right, it's impossible
to
really
not see it unless you laid eyes on that play to really appreciate what Isaiah did in that play. And that wasn't the only really good defensive performance in that play. You remember Lou also had a massive contest at the rim, essentially, to block what could have been a really big bucket by the Warriors.
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins, excuse me, on a great misdirection play by Golden State, has this chance going kind of back across the lane from the sideline on a bounce play. And he catches the ball over the top and he flips something up.
It was kind of an awkward shot, but a shot that he certainly could have made.
Yeah, and it would have tied the game and potentially sent it to overtime. And Lou Dort just gets a big graze of a fingertip on the ball, and so the layup comes up short. But again, this game of inches and every defensive possession mattering, and all you can do on the road is control what you can control, and that's what the Thunder did.
So this brings us to a couple of themes that we saw over the course of this week while we were on the road, and it tees up perfectly. We talked about 2 defensive plays that made us look well. The Thunder's defense on the road was massive, and it's been a theme for the OKC all season long. They're the number 1 defense in the league for a reason. However, especially against the Warriors and especially against the Lakers, that defense showed up big time because their offense was not there. Yeah. It wasn't exactly where they needed it to be. I mean, they were very low scoring affairs. And so the Thunder really had to rely heavily on its defense. And what it learned was that they can rely on their defense enough to give them a shot, to keep them in a game, to keep the game from getting out of hand, so that when the shots do start falling, when they need a bucket down the stretch of the game and they're able to start making baskets, they're going to be in a position to do that.
Yeah, and the Warriors game is the perfect example because, as you mentioned, Thunder's offense was not there. It was a struggle, and the Thunder managed to hold the Warriors scoreless. Not just, without a field goal, but completely scoreless.
Yeah.
0 of 14 shooting from the field during a 5.5-minute stretch of the fourth quarter, like basically from the 5:45 mark until about the 20-second mark of the fourth quarter. When you hold a team scoreless for that long in their own building, that is that is a near impossible task.
I know.
The Thunder managed it, and they managed to manufacture enough shots, including a huge Shea 3-pointer out top when Shea to that point had really struggled to make shots from behind the arc, but the one that he needed, the one that counted in crunch time, it went down for him.
It sure did. And so just a couple of stats here just to highlight all of this. over the course of that 4-game road trip where you play the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, the LA Lakers, and the Houston Rockets, 4 very tough Western Conference opponents, you hold your opponent on average to 104 points.
Amazing. Yeah, and that is sitting right there at what would be, the number 1 defense in the league over the course of the season. The Thunder still maintains the best defensive rating over the course of the year and has been extremely disruptive despite not having most of the personnel that they had imagined having all together at the same time. I mean, we haven't seen Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein play together. We haven't seen Jay Will play with either of those two bigs. Alex Caruso's been in and out of the lineup. Isaiah Joe's been in and out of the lineup. I mean, there's been so much, mixing and matching of rotations and guys in and out that, the Thunder is just hanging in there. They're doing their best and they're thriving while doing it, which is pretty incredible.
You mentioned personnel, and one person that we need to talk about if we're going to talk about defense is Lou Dort.
Yeah.
Because while his offense was wavering, to say the least, throughout this entire road trip, one thing that did not waver the entire trip was his defense. And one game in particular completely highlighted this, and it was the game against Sacramento.
Yeah.
Because Lou in this game took 2 shots. 2 shots. That's it.
Yeah.
He had no points. But he had 10 rebounds. But he was defending De'Aaron Fox,
who before that had been sensational.
Was balling out. This man had a 60-point game. He had a 40-point game. He had put together 100 and something points over a course of 2 games. It was insane.
Something only Kobe had done, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's like 109 points on back-to-back nights.
He was on a heater coming into that game. Like, he was top line of the scouting report. Look out, defend, hold him down, tie both arms behind his back, something. And all you got to do is just put Lou Dort on him.
Lou did it.
Lou did it because De'Aaron Fox had 14 points on 15 shots. It was a very inefficient night for De'Aaron Fox.
If you ever see somebody that's got a box score on the other team where they've got more shot attempts than they do points, there's a pretty good chance that Lou Dort was defending him. And so Lou, once again, I mean, he's been dealing with a little finger issue on his shooting hand and still has managed to fight through all of that. Mm-hmm. Didn't shoot it, very much at all in that Sacramento game. Hadn't shot it well in a few games prior to that.
Yep.
Ended up later in the road trip having a massive night in Los Angeles when he played against the Lakers. In that game against the Lakers, he spent a ton of time on LeBron James and really helped, take care of that matchup as well as you possibly can against the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But he did his part there for sure, and he and Isaiah Hartenstein can kind of working in tandem a lot on these pick and roll actions. Hartenstein was incredible against Anthony Davis as well in that matchup. Hartenstein, we'd be remiss without saying, has doubled in every single game that he's played for the Thunder, all 5. Yeah.
It's incredible. To your point, so going back to Lou's defense on LeBron James. So in that game, Lou knocked down 4 threes. He had a great night after, not knocking down a 3 in the previous 2 games. He had 14 points. And as you mentioned, spent a lot of minutes on LeBron James.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris Josephson for this stat because he said in 25 partial possessions, defending LeBron James. I'm loving that they can track this stuff.
I mean,
amazing, because it's just a perfect illustration of what Lou does. Guarding LeBron James, where he's giving up a lot of height, a lot of size, he held him to 2 points. In the possessions where Lou Dort was defending LeBron James, LeBron scored 2 points. 2.
Amazing.
That's it. And
Amazing.
Lou is just, and he finished ultimately with 12 on 13 field goal attempts.
Yep. Once again, you
the
get
Lou
that
Dort
same
effect.
dynamic. Yeah. And Lou, I mean, he continues to have a rounded game down in Houston. Of course, Thunder didn't get the win, but he set a season high with 6 assists. That was just one shy of a career high 7 assists for him. So Lou continues to find ways to impact the game regardless of exactly what his offensive role looks like on a given night. In LA, it was a big time scoring option. In Sacramento, it certainly was not, but every step of the way in between, he finds a way to impact the game.
So massive flowers for Lou Dort, because a lot of what he does also you don't see. Like we're able to piece out little pieces of the box score that indicate that Lou was here. Lou had a massive impact on this game, because if you're just looking at the scoring column, it's not always going to show up. But Lou's impact can be felt massively when he's out there on the floor, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah, and I mean, he's one of the guys that opposing team stars do not want to play. You just see the body language sometimes when they get in the game. It's like, I got to deal with this guy again. I mean, we saw it earlier in the year when Devin Booker clearly got frustrated with Lou defending him as difficult as he possibly can, making it as difficult as he possibly could. So it was just, another example on this road trip of the way that Lou is able to impact winning in invisible ways.
So another thing that we really want to point out on this road trip, and we've kind of hinted at it, is the fact that there were vastly different games that the Thunder had to play. I mean, that's the NBA, but the different schemes that they had to go up against, and particularly in a game against the Houston Rockets, where the defensive schemes by Houston are just, they're all over the place, right? Because Ime Udoka is so good at putting his guys in different positions to get them to be as disruptive as possible. They've got super athletic guys. And the Thunder in that game had to adjust a lot to what Houston was throwing at them. Same thing in Los Angeles. You've got a lot of big physical guys out there. Yeah. And they were mixing up. Are we going zone? Are we switching? Are we man-to-man? Like mixing up coverages. And so it's a huge testament to the Thunder's offense that teams are throwing a lot of different looks at them. But this was a good testament to OKC of how to figure out different ways to put the ball in the hoop when you need to. And this was a really good road trip to figure that out.
Yeah, you want to be an all-weather team if you can be. And we're heading into winter. And so the Thunder's going to have some chilly nights. And on the offensive end, they're going to have to withstand those. And they're also going to have to deal with, there being some great outputs on the offensive end from their own team. And not letting that get their head in the clouds and making sure that they buckle down defensively as well.
So a really good road trip for the Thunder because they're able to get so many different experiences under their belt heading into this next month of December, which is going to have a lot of different, I mean, you don't know what's happening in December. Like literally we're sitting here December 2nd and we don't know what our schedule looks like next week currently because it's all pending on how the Emirates NBA Cup shakes out, but like that's
we'll break all that down for you in just a moment.
Exactly, but that's just the unpredictable nature of the NBA. You never know what's going to get thrown your way, and the Thunder kind of thriving in that unpredictability.
Yeah,
so
for
far.
Sure.
All right, so we mentioned it's December 2nd, so we are going to take this time to reflect on November a little bit and just take it all in totality. There are a couple of notables that we want to point out from November. Nick, I'll let you go first. What was the most notable thing for you that stood out?
I just think the one thing that we can't ever take for granted on this team, because this happens in the NBA all the time, is how great Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is as an all-around player, as somebody that provides consistent playmaking, scoring, defense on a night in and night out basis. Having been here for the length of time that I have, we've had so many future Hall of Famer players on this team in Oklahoma City. And sometimes it's so easy to, they had 30 again, and just kind of ho-hum it. Well, like,
isn't that crazy?
We should always reflect on the fact that, like, when Shai has 30, it's within the team construct. It's how the team needs him to operate. He talks often about how he plays a role on this team too. It's not just when people talk about role players, they think like somebody that just has this like small, minuscule part to play. Like Shai views his job on the team. Part of that job is to use his gifts as a scorer to advance things. So just quickly, his last 10 games, which is kind of like, 2/3 of the month here of November, 34 points a game on 52% shooting, 7 assists per game, 2 steals, and over 1 block per game. So just incredibly impressive output for him. Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. And to your point, what's crazy is that, Shai is so consistent with this output of scoring, right? The 30 points per night that it falls into the rhythm of a game. And it's just like, Shai had 30 again. And it's like, Lu Dort knocked down 4 threes. And it's like, no, we need to appreciate what Shai is doing out there on the floor. The other thing I'll say about Shai, he had 32 points in all 4 of these games on the road for the Thunder. But the other element of his game that I found that I really appreciate is the fact that his assist numbers have also been really high over the course of November, the last 4, really the entire season, but like 5 assists against the Rockets, 9 assists against the Lakers, And then 11 assists against Sacramento. Like, this guy is just getting his teammates involved. He's facilitating. And it goes to show when he has like a 34-point night, it never just felt like it was just Shea out there or like a one-dimensional offensive performance for OKC.
Yeah, I mean, Shea talks all the time about investing in the group, investing in his teammates, making sure that he's setting them up for success. And a lot of, what we saw on this road trip was the Thunder navigating, how to play in crunch time, how to attack teams with personnel that has evolved and changed over the course of time and having different circumstances thrown their way. So Shea understands that this part of the season, now leading up to the spring, is when it's really important to invest in the group as a whole and make sure that this whole team is ready when defenses really start to key on him in the, in hopefully the postseason.
Which just goes to show just how he's able to be so consistent all season long, because he's not just relying on his own ability, which is great, by the way. Shea is very good offensively. I don't know if you know, but he can get downhill. His bag is endless when it comes to his ability to put the ball through the hoop. But his ability to rely on his teammates and recognizing that investing in the group is going to help him as well.
Yeah.
That this all high tide lifts all boats. It's just like that's where it goes from. Okay. So my November notable.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Jalen Williams.
Very good.
And his month of November, which was big. It was a very big month in terms of scoring and just all around stat stuffing.
And everything he had to do.
Everything
the man was playing center.
He was playing the 5. And so let's just run through the stats, shall we? Okay. 22 points per game. 22.7 points per game. Okay. I just want to that's important. 6.1 rebounds per game, 4.9 assists per game. And he obviously played in all 15 games. He was shooting 55% from the field and 44% from 3.
For a guy at 6'6" to be shooting 55% from the field, I'm not sure that that is a ridiculous number for anyone at that size to be shooting that number.
And to shoot 44% from 3, and he was shooting a lot of threes.
Yeah.
He's not just it's not a low volume number for J-Dub, especially this season as he's trying to really expand his game and get the 3-point shot involved to just open up his game a little bit more. This guy was all over the place. Not to mention he had 15 blocks in 15 games as the center. He also had 35 steals. I mean, truly, when Coach Daigneault says that Jalen Williams is a very well-rounded player, it's because he's really all over the place, doing everything. He's playing the 5. He's guarding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
He can facilitate, he can pass, he can play off the bounce, he can play in the mid-range. Saw a lot of mid-range. We can see him knock down threes. Now he's shooting threes off the bounce. He can defend. I mean,
deflection, steals, blocks. I mean, he's one of the top 10 in steals and blocks combined per game. He's one of the top 10 in deflections, loose balls recovered. I mean, everything. And to your point about the 3-point shooting, it's remarkable to me that when the Thunder talks about something during training camp as something that they would like to accomplish, and then to look 20 games into the season, which is usually a pretty good barometer of okay, is this sticky or not? They've actually accomplished that thing. So J-Dub last season took 3.5 threes per game.
Right.
He's about 5.5 this year. And at the beginning of the season, they said, we want him to take more threes.
Yeah.
And you can't just do that. You can't just say that. You have to actually manifest it. You have to actually create the opportunities for those shots to be good. And guess what? He's shooting basically just as well from 3 as he was last season. 39% on the season, and as you mentioned, up into the 40s here in the month of November.
And he's seeing the benefits of that, of adding that extra layer of higher volume from 3. Now teams don't feel as comfortable just cutting off the paint and sitting back and just protecting the paint. Now it's pick your poison time. It's, do I get out there and contest with urgency against this really good 3-point shooter? Or do I sit back and hang back and gap him a little bit, knowing that he's also really good at getting downhill? And if I'm really good at kind of doing both, guess what? He's got the mid-range too. So it's just really, really tough to defend this guy. It's really tough to defend Shea. And especially when both of them are putting up assist numbers the way that they have been, that explains why this Thunder offense is just so difficult to try to slow down.
Yeah, and they're continuing to evolve as players as well. J-Dub also, I mean, they've got to deal with him on the defensive end. And as we mentioned, he was defending centers for about 2 weeks here in November because none of the Thunder centers were healthy. So when you're the LA Clippers and you come into town and you have your very first play of the game be an entry pass into Ivica Zubac, who's a 7-footer, to try to post up J-Dub, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, let's go abuse this matchup as soon as we can. Well, J-Dub steals the ball from him right away.
It's not going to be
that easy.
And so
then it's like, okay, we're dealing with a whole different dynamic here tonight. And so figuring out how you're going to attack the Thunder when they go small like that with J-Dub at the center, that really helps kind of twist this whole logic loop that these other teams are trying to figure out for themselves. Of like, okay, well, if the Thunder's going to switch everything, what do they do? If the Thunder's going to stay with their matchups and trust J-Dub to be, not necessarily isolated one-on-one, but be a primary defender on a big, now what do we do?
Exactly. And it really helps. I mean, we've heard this from Coach Dagnall a lot, that J-Dub, you can never take for granted just how hard he's playing out there on the floor. His compete level is so incredibly high on both ends of the floor. And so that's what allows him to defend guys who are much taller than he is and still get the better of them in a lot of those situations. And it also helps. You've got a lot of guys like Isaiah Joe, you've got Aaron Wiggins, you've got Cason Wallace. Don't forget about these guys. Kenrich Williams coming in and just scrapping. AJ Mitchell. How many deflections, how many offensive fouls and charges have the Thunder racked up over the course of the week where they were playing with 0 centers? The scrap level was through the roof. A, because it had to be, but B, because it was always there by the Thunder. And it was just really exemplified there.
And the motto that Cason Wallace shared with me was, if a big man brings the ball down below his chest, that ball's got to be ours. It's like that.
You're in the danger zone.
And he almost said it with a sense of urgency and like, that's our recipe towards winning. Right. Like, we have to do that. It's not like because we're so, quick and shifty and whatever, like we can do that. It was like, no, there's this great, I don't know, it's like just competition level with these guys that it's like, if we have an opportunity to win, we have to win on that margin, whatever that is. Like, that's got to be ours. That's got to be our ball in that situation.
And it shows up big time when you see guys diving. You see Isaiah Hartenstein diving on the floor for a loose ball. He's done that like 4 times now. And I get a little nerve. I'm like, oh, okay, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's taking some hard falls.
He's taking some hard falls, rising to the moment of truth, blocking shots, taking hard tumbles. But all of these guys are so willing to do that every single time at a drop of a hat, to your point, because they recognize we need this stuff. Yeah. This is not an option. Right. We have to go get it. This isn't a business decision that we're making.
Yeah, and it's great training for this team moving forward because they're going to need all of that, hopefully if they're, fortunate enough to be in the postseason down the line. So
speaking of moving forward, let's get into what's up next for OKC. So we mentioned that we're back home from a 4-game road trip. We are home, but just for one quick game. The Thunder takes on the Utah Jazz tomorrow. That is on Tuesday, and it is the final game of group play for this Emirates NBA Cup for OKC. Don't forget, the Thunder is in West Group B, and currently they have a 2-1 record. And so a lot can happen depending on how this game shakes out. So, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you for the scenarios following what could happen following this group play game.
Okay, so just one other thing to add is the Thunder is a plus 18 on
very important
score differential. Yes. That may come into play here. There's a few different scenarios in which the Thunder can advance into the NBA Emirates Cup knockout stage. And the first one is the simplest one. They need to win against the Utah Jazz, and the San Antonio Spurs need to lose to the Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
If that happens, then it's all gravy, and the Thunder is able to advance through as the winner of Group B.
Okay.
There are 4 different scenarios in which the Thunder can be the wild card team. So that is the 4th team coming out of the West to begin this knockout stage. I am not going to belabor all of these 4 scenarios. They are extremely complicated. I'll just say that the easiest one is that if Oklahoma City wins and both Portland and Dallas lose, OKC has clinched that 4th spot in the West, the wild card spot. There are all sorts of different intricacies there.
There's a lot.
If Portland and Dallas do win, or there's tiebreakers with a point differential.
Yep.
We will do everything that we possibly can to let you know if that situation comes to fruition. But the thing for you all to focus on Tuesday night is, did the Thunder win? Did the Spurs lose? And how did Portland and Dallas do? And we can figure it all out there from there on out. Now, if the Thunder does not advance to the knockout stage, we will find out which Western Conference team is going to come into OKC and which team that the Thunder is going to visit during that week, which will just turn into regular season games. Yeah.
So there are a lot of puzzle pieces that are still yet to be locked into place, but it all hinges on how the group play games shake out tomorrow night.
Right.
So keep your eye out. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. We'll keep you updated. And then also come back to the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast. And of course, we've got you covered on everything. Okay, so after that game in Utah, the Thunder then heads back out on the road for a super normal 2-game road trip.
Just right next to each other, these two cities.
It makes so much sense to go to Toronto to take on the Raptors and then head to New Orleans after that totally normal road trip.
I don't think I've ever experienced this road trip before in my career. Now we've actually done a Toronto New Orleans as a part of the same trip, but it was part of a larger trip. I've never seen this two game matchup.
It reminds me of the Denver Chicago opener where I was just like, I don't understand the logic, but I'll be on the flight. Obviously, we'll be there. Just tell me where to be.
Hey, you know what? If we get to watch NBA basketball and talk about it and bring the joy of Thunder basketball to you all, we will go wherever it is that we need to go
with a smile on our face, and we were always so happy about it. Now, the thing about that road trip is that's the last thing that we know for sure on the schedule for now, because the week following that, you'll notice a very large gap currently. I mean, we're recording this on December 2nd. So if you're listening to this a day later, you might have that information already. But the week after that, to be determined. And it all depends on how those group play games play out on Tuesday, where the Thunder will be. But be sure, stay locked, OKCThunder.com, at OKC Thunder on social media. Follow Nick, follow me. We've got you covered. You will be informed on where this team will be, because there certainly are a lot of different scenarios that could take place. Makes it kind of fun, though.
Oh, it's so fun. It's like...
Yeah, I mean, November was awesome, given how the group play and all the Emirates Cup games shook out.
Yeah, you can tell the fans are fired up about it, and there's just a different sort of energy to these games. It's not necessarily like better or something than a regular season game, but it is different, and that's cool.
That's the key. It is very different. A lot of different energy out there, and a different court as well. A lot of different stuff. But anyway, that wraps up today's podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up, and catch you later.